Welcome back, everyone, to the deep dive, where we like to get into those kind of prickly topics, And today we're going to be talking about Christmas trees. Not those picture-perfect ones you see on, like, those Hallmark cards, though. We're going deep on a blog post by Stephen Pinkwart. He's a poet and storyteller.
And a pretty straight shooter.
Yeah, no kidding. He uses this kind of crazy-looking Christmas tree to make a point about authenticity.
It's a really clever way to approach this idea.
For sure, and get this, he calls this tree Rupfi. He says it's the saddest Christmas tree in all of Germany.
You can't make this stuff up.
Right, he even compares it to the Leaning Tower of Pisa.
Yeah, I mean, just picture that.
Total comedy gold, right?
So this tree shows up in Erfurt's Domplatz back in 2015, and people just went nuts.
They were ruthless.
Oh, yeah, like everyone turned into a stand-up comedian overnight.
Some of the comparisons were brutal.
Like a drunk uncle at a family wedding.
Ouch.
You almost feel sorry for the tree.
Almost.
But Pinkwart uses all this to set up a brilliant twist.
Here's where it gets good. This little tree, the one everyone was making fun of, it becomes like a local celebrity. People start visiting it, taking pictures, sharing stories about it.
It's like they saw something of themselves in this imperfect little tree.
Totally. It's like they're saying, hey, it's okay to not be perfect.
Especially around the holidays when everything's supposed to be so picture perfect.
Right. It's like Rupfi, this little scraggly tree, became this symbol of acceptance. And then Pinkwart takes this whole thing and applies it to writing.
Which is brilliant when you think about it.
Okay, so let's break that down a little. Pinkwart is basically saying, stop apologizing for your work.
Yeah.
Embrace the humor, the imperfections, the parts that aren't quite there yet.
Turn that criticism into fuel.
Be more Rupfi.
Right, exactly. Be bold, be raw, be you.
I love that.
And what's great is he doesn't just throw out this metaphor and leave it at that. He uses this really kind of shocking humor, this in-your-face style.
To make some really insightful points about writing and about life.
It's refreshing.
Yeah, it really is. And it's not just about embracing those imperfections. It's about owning your voice, even if it's a little different. Pinkwart has this great line. He says, raw wood burns best.
Such a powerful analogy.
Right. It's like he's saying those raw, unpolished parts of yourself, those are the things that really fuel your creativity.
And this is where we start to see the connection to authenticity.
This whole idea of being genuine.
Which is a perfect segue into the next part of our deep dive.
So stay tuned, everyone. We'll be right back after a quick break.
Okay, so we've got this scraggly Christmas tree teaching us about authenticity.
Sounds a little out there.
It does, doesn't it?
But Pinkwart really gets into, like, what that actually means.
Right, especially for creatives.
Yeah, it's not just about being, like, quirky or different.
No, it's about tapping into something deeper.
Something that really resonates with people because it's so uniquely you.
And to do that, you got to be willing to take risks.
To break free from all those expectations about what's acceptable or polished or whatever.
Exactly. Like, remember how people reacted to Rupfi at first?
Yeah, they were pretty harsh.
But in the end, it was that unconventionality that made it so captivating.
It was like Rupfi refused to conform.
And that's what made it stand out.
So Pinkwart's saying, like, screw the holiday card aesthetic, let's get real.
And the best part is he gives you actual tools to use these ideas in your own writing.
That's where his book Poetry Master comes in.
It's like a playbook for embracing your inner Rupfi.
Full of practical advice exercises and, of course, Pinkwart's signature humor.
Which, let's be honest, is a little bit like Rupfi itself.
Yeah, a little unexpected, a little edgy.
But definitely memorable.
He even, like, calls out potential criticism in the blog post.
Which is hilarious.
I know, right?
Yeah.
He's like, if I'm too sarcastic and mean for you, then you've come to the right place.
He doesn't hold back.
Not at all. He's like, I speak as I please, and hopefully that comes across to you.
It's like he's daring you to disagree.
But you kind of have to respect his boldness.
And that's exactly what makes his work so compelling.
It's not about trying to please everyone.
It's about saying, this is me, take it or leave it.
Which is such a powerful message for anyone trying to find their voice.
For sure.
It's like he's giving you permission to break the rules.
Yeah.
Ditch the expectations and just create from the heart.
I love that.
So it brings up a really interesting question.
Okay, what's that?
Can you really be authentic if you're trying to please everyone?
That's a tough one.
It is, right.
Because, I mean, being truly authentic might mean that some people just won't get it.
They won't get your style, your humor, your perspective.
But then again, if you spend all your time trying to please everyone, you end up with work that's just kind of bland and generic.
Right. It loses that spark of individuality.
So maybe it's about finding that balance.
That core truth that you're willing to stand by, even if it ruffles a few feathers. You know what I mean?
No,
You might not agree with everything Pinkwart said,
not at all.
but you can't deny that his voice is totally distinct and memorable.
Exactly, and I think that's really the essence of what he's trying to teach.
It's not about perfection. It's about making a statement, about leaving an impression.
And sometimes the most unconventional, even ridiculed things can be the most memorable and inspiring.
Just like our friend Rupfi.
That little Christmas tree that could.
So as we wrap up this exploration of imperfect Christmas trees and authentic writing, I want to leave you with a challenge.
Oh, I like this.
What's your Rupfi?
I like that.
What's that part of yourself, your work, that you've been holding back?
Good question.
What would it look like to embrace it, to make it a source of strength, even if it's a little rough around the edges?
Something to think about. So think about it for a second. What really makes something memorable? Is it that like airbrush perfection you see in magazines, or is it something a little more real?
Something that makes you laugh or think or even like cringe a little?
Exactly. Pinkwart would say it's definitely the latter.
He's all about ditching that whole idea of unattainable perfection.
And tapping into that raw energy that makes us who we are.
Even if it's a little messy sometimes.
Yeah. Embrace the mess.
And that's where Poetry Master comes in, right?
Absolutely.
It's more than just a poetry how-to guide.
It's like a guide to finding your voice.
However you express yourself.
Whether it's through writing or music or whatever.
It's about having the courage to put yourself out there, even if you don't feel totally ready.
Remember even Rupfi, that so-called saddest tree, ended up inspiring people.
It's like Pinkwart saying, hey, I'm not here to sugarcoat things. I'm here to give you the tools to express yourself honestly and powerfully.
And that's a pretty empowering message.
It really is.
It's like a reminder that those imperfections, those little quirks, those are the things that make us interesting and relatable.
And ultimately memorable.
Exactly.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into imperfect Christmas trees and authentic writing, remember, you don't have to be perfect. You just have to be you.
Embrace that inner Rupfi.
That spark of authenticity that makes you unique.
And if you're looking for a guide on that journey, I highly recommend checking out Poetry Master.
It's a really fun and insightful read.
With tons of practical advice, and of course, Pinkwart's signature wit and no-nonsense approach.
You might just find yourself inspired to create something truly remarkable.
Something that's uniquely you.
So go forth, be bold, be a little crooked, and most importantly, be you. And hey, maybe give those less than perfect Christmas trees a second glance this year. You never know what you might learn.
Happy holidays, everyone.
And happy writing.